Welcome back, YouTubers, to the British Fist Monday Night Raw review of us, the British Fist. I already had my hand out there ready for you to do that, didn't I, NJ?
You did indeed.
I'm Mr. Parkin, as you well know. This guy sitting next to me. I may botch, but this guy doesn't. He never botches. It's the one and only NJ.
What's up?
How funny would it have been if you botched your what's up right then? But he didn't. That's the main thing, guys. He didn't.
Oh, what? Okay, let's go.
No, that was just funny and entertainment. That wasn't a botch. That was a funny botch. Subscribe above, guys. Like this video and comment your thoughts on this episode of Raw down in the comment section below.
Where's your connect in the description box below?
Yes, indeed. No botches there, boy. So this was the go-home show for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, the Raw go-home show, that is. And, well, it was the day before Valentine's Day, and someone was going to try and open his heart out tonight and ended up in the friend zone. Must admit, I know how he feels.
Yeah, they were going to obviously throw in as much Valentine's Day as they could in this, obviously to get it all feeling, because obviously it's really big in the US, and here we just take it for granted and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
All I can say is, fuck Valentine's Day. Fuck that day. Who gives a shit? If you love someone, why do you need a day to say you love them? You love them. It's no big fucking... It's corporate bullshit trying to get us to buy cards and bullshit. Anyway, let's go on to this show. We open up with Kane saying that Cena will embrace the hate and that Cena will take a ride in the ambulance. This is all done by the ambulance. I guess it was okay. It was nice and short, and it had the ambulance theme in it. I just wondered why this had to open the show when you had a segment already kind of there to hype up all the matches on the show to open the show.
Again, Kane, him saying this, it could have been done later in the show, but for the thing following it would have been a better opener to get straight to the point of the actual show and the go-home show.
Yeah, because this opening segment went on very long, and I thought they could have taken that segment out. I mean, they had it all throughout the night. Why not just have it at different points? But I felt they should have opened with what we got next, which is Jerry Lawler introducing the Elimination Chamber match debate. And NJ, we're going to have a debate of our own here. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to explain why you're the best reviewer in the YWC.
Okay, it's a bit on the spot here, people, but as you know that in my review and in my talk, I do try and be entertaining as well as getting to the point, as well as trying to be funny as I make the points, you know, to give you something extra as well as give my valid reasons on why I don't like Cena, why I don't like this, why I like that, why I don't like that. But there you go, people.
Now, how the fuck can I follow that? It's just a shame that, well, it's just a shame that the thing that had to interrupt this was Johnny Ace is back, and Mr. Excitement's back, and he's back to botching his lines again. Johnny Ace is back, Mr. Excitement. Oh, it was good. We only saw him once or twice. That was good. We only saw him once or twice in this show.
And his first involvement was just to say that he's back, and the thing is, he comes out and says he's back, yeah, whatever. But it's the Punk thing that obviously put him in his place.
Boo! this whole the Elimination Chamber match debate. Some guys out there might say it's stupid, but to me, oh god, it was so entertaining. It just felt to me like I was watching an electoral debate, and I felt this was a really entertaining and original as well way to open Raw, because it got all the 6 members of the Elimination Chamber match involved. It got them all talking. It got them all stating their points as to why they could win. So it was a really interesting segment. You had some really funny segments in there, some good Punk and Jericho interaction. Everyone got to speak. It was a nice way to open the show. It's something different.
Well, at first we were thinking, okay, this is a bit of a weird opener because it's something that WWE don't normally do. But the fact they had all the 6 competitors in, all having their say, adding in comedy words and that from the right people, R-Truth, Punk, and Ziggler now and again. They actually got Kofi to say some stuff, obviously, with him being a throw-in person this match. It was good that he spoke. And this... The comedy, the talk about the pay-per-view made the segment work.
If I was elected... Nah, I'm not even going to bother go, because R-Truth kind of seemed like R-Truth thought he was trying to get elected for COO or something, didn't he? But anyway, you had a lot of good concentration on Punk and Jericho. R-Truth was pretty funny. My only issue with it was that it did go on a bit long. And it did kind of, after the last 5 minutes, did kind of draw off a little bit. I felt it could have maybe be condensed a little bit more. That's my only issue I had with this.
Well, with 6 wrestlers and them all mentioning why they should, it's going to get amount of time. If it was only 1-on-1, then it would have been short. So I'm happy with the opener. I thought it was really good. Yeah,
and then you had Kofi Kingston hitting the Trouble in Paradise on Jericho. So it all hyped up the pay-per-view and the matches we were going to get later, because we've got Kofi Kingston and Chris Jericho next. And Jericho seemed a bit shaken after that Trouble in Paradise, didn't it? It kind of looked like Kofi Kingston gave him a bit of a stiff shot there with the old chin.
It was unexpected, because obviously Kofi getting that over someone as big as Jericho, it was good for Kofi, and the match itself Kofi again did not look weak in this. I'm glad that even though this is going to be a temporary thing for Kofi, I think it's good that he's getting all these big moments in.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of seem like the odd one out in this Elimination Chamber pay-per-view match. So, I mean, Jericho and Kingston had about a 5-minute match. It was a pretty decent little match for what it was. These guys have been working house shows together, so no surprise they showed some decent in-ring chemistry here. Jericho did look a little bit shook up after that Trouble in Paradise, but the match did seem a tad rushed, but I was still happy with the ending. Jericho with the thumbs of the eye and the code breaker gets the victory. The right guy won. Kofi didn't look too weak.
The ending did look a bit slippery to me, like it was a bit, this doesn't look right, but it did flow and did finish, so we got the right person winning and as well making Kofi look good, ready for the pay-per-view.
Yes, and after this we got another match.
Good.
We got Big Show versus Randy Orton. This all escalated from the main event of SmackDown last week. We'll say though, we both quipped to each other during the Raw. We said, well, why not save this for SmackDown? Because this was the main event of SmackDown, and having it at this place on the card, it's not going to be featured in a prominent spot which people are going to watch. If that just finished your main event of SmackDown, surely you want it to be like in a prominent spot on the TV show, and that could be done on SmackDown rather than Raw. Just a little thought there.
There's a few things I want to say. The first thing is,
Bring that whole gimmick back again.
Yes. The second thing is, again with the Raw filling up with matches for the pay-per-view. The whole SmackDown matches weren't needed tonight. I really don't think it was.
Because no one else showed up, didn't we? Had no Rhodes, Barrett, Sheamus.
So I think it could have been a whole Raw night hype for the pay-per-view. This match has been saved for SmackDown. And the third thing is, the fact that Big Show is versus Orton, it makes sense because on SmackDown we're going to be getting Orton versus Daniel Bryan again. In
a rematch, yeah, essentially. It's
so it makes sense, you know.
We had Daniel Bryan on commentary during this match. You had Michael Cole kissing his ass. Thank God they finally gone there, even though that's probably only going to be a one-off. The match wasn't too bad. It was all done really just to escalate the whole Big Show and Randy Orton little mini feud they're having now. You had a bit of a botched RKO finish, but they did have that nice big DDT spot, which was pretty good. That was a nice spot in the match. And, you know, the RKO, they finished it with the RKO. They managed to work around the botch. And Bryan comes in after the match and attacks Orton and Show with the bell. And I thought that was it was kind of like Bobby Roode heel style way of sort of finishing the match, wasn't it?
Well, instead of giving Bryan the mic, I'm kind of glad they gave him something different for this show. They actually gave him an attack. That actually was kind of a strong thing for Bryan to do. So I'm going to give this part a big thumbs up.
Because we haven't seen him attack anyone yet, and it really was needed because he was really looking like a chicken shit heel, and this makes him look a little bit stronger going into that elimination pay-per-view, even though we still got the SmackDown show left. Well, what we got next, NJ? The hour main event. This was the segment of the night, wasn't it, really?
Oh, yes.
I think the reason why this is segment of the night, it was one of those priceless segments which showed real emotion and only two people could have. You couldn't just have any old people in this segment. It had to be HBK and Triple H. And by God, we had Shawn Michaels' return. The crowd didn't pop nearly anywhere near enough as they should have done, which is a bit disappointing. But HBK comes out and addresses the crowd saying he can't believe that Triple H didn't accept the challenge. And then your boy comes out in his suit.
And the thing is, Shawn Michaels really thought that Triple H last week was going to give the yes, that just because of the way Triple H is. And the way Shawn Michaels spoke, he really got his points out there, really felt that the way Triple H is and the way that he's the right person to do this, he should have said yes.
You have HBK calling Triple H a coward. Triple H saying he doesn't want a face taker because he's got responsibilities. You have the whole thing there with HBK trying to get Triple H. He's trying to get Triple H to accept the match because of, you know, that's what he is. That is Triple H. He is the cerebral assassin, blah, blah, blah. And Triple H isn't at peace, and he even tells him to look into his eyes and say no. And he does say no, and he doesn't want this match. And hopefully this match won't happen, but we know it will.
The thing about this is that Shawn Michaels was really trying to make Triple H crack. He went over the top. He said a lot of things that would normally break someone, saying that Triple H is stamps on people's necks, breaks people, ends people, does all that.
Ends people. I thought that was a very funny little quip. That was. He literally does end people.
Oh, yes.
He literally buries people.
And the fact that he did not go ahead and actually give Shawn Michaels, because he actually made the point that Shawn Michaels wants Triple H to have this match for his own ego as well. Yeah. The fact that he couldn't get the job done, so Triple H had to do it. So there's a lot going on in this. I'm going to give the WWE, the way they did this, a big thumbs up. Shawn Michaels, even though they kind of wasted this, if this match is eventually going to happen, they've wasted the chance of maybe getting Shawn Michaels the referee or Shawn Michaels involved. This could have been the time when it happened. The fact they had it, Shawn Michaels bring the best out of Triple H and a big good time on mic. I'm going to give it a big thumbs up here. I really enjoyed this.
Just like the opening segment, it was a really good... I mean, it was better than the opener, of course. You had these two in there. It was a really good segment. The interaction between the two, of course, is brilliant because they're best friends in real life. But my only issue with it was a priceless segment. Really well done. It just went on too long because you had Triple H just about to get out of the ring, and then that Taker video package comes along, and he's cutting his hair, and yeah, that's what they're going to do to cover the bald headedness. I hear Badass Taker was trending on Twitter.
Oh yes, I hope they will bring back that gimmick. But the thing about this is that the length. I'm thinking the way the WWE did it is because of Shawn Michaels being there, and they wanted it to be a big part of Raw. They didn't want it to be short, and Shawn Michaels here and goes. So they actually had a big part here. And again, it may have gone too long, but everything that happened in this segment, it was just really good for obviously this matchup going to happen at WrestleMania.
It is definitely going to happen now, isn't it? I mean, this segment was really good, but I think it did kind of affect the second hour, in my opinion. I'll go into a little bit more on that as we go through these matches. After this segment, we had Dolph Ziggler versus R-Truth. Ziggler got no entrance. As soon as you see the no entrances, you kind of know that the segment's being rushed, and you know the segment's being rushed when the match only goes 2.5 minutes.
But the way they did it correctly. I think they had Ziggler looking good throughout most of the match.
Only 2.5 minutes, though. Then, how can you make a guy look good in 2.5 minutes?
Then Ziggler, obviously, he did his old, him thinking he's cocky and that, and Archer's getting the roll up.
I'm cocky.
For time-wise, again, yes, they had 2 long segments, our main event in the beginning. So I think getting the quick roll-up was the only way to get this match done over with and moved on. But I blame the 2 matches, as well as the big show and all, which could have been saved from the show. I
can't help but blame the 2 long promo segments, but that's just me. Truth wins with a roll-up. Ziggler shows off too much. It just seemed like a really rushed match to me. It should have gone at least 5 minutes, like the Jericho Kofi match. Just my thoughts on that one. It was a needed match at height of pay-per-view, but it just went too quick. And that kind of really doesn't make me want to like this segment too much.
No.
Tamina versus Brie Bella was next with Beth Phoenix on commentary. We found out that we're going to get a 4th match at Elimination Chamber. It's going to be Beth Phoenix versus Tamina. So we actually have a built-up Divas feud, even though it was announced on the Go Home show. Again, we had no entrances for this match. It went pretty quickly, a typical Divas quick segment, but it's hyping up to a match, so at least it has a purpose on the show, and they did it quite well with Beth and Tamina, or Tamina winning and Beth and Tamina staring each other down.
What I want to say about this is I'm glad it weren't another Tamina and Natalya match. The fact they had another... I know Brie Bella's not the best, but at least it's not a replay match. It was something different. It gives Tamina a win that she needs. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up, even though it was a pointless a Divas match that we don't really care about.
Yeah, just hyped up a pay-per-view match. Rock video package. With all the filler they had, well, with all the, with those promo segments going on, did they really need this? A Rock video package, just saying. And then after that, you had a segment where Kane puts Eve in the ambulance. You got a couple of these segments throughout the night. They spread it throughout the night quite well, despite I didn't think they should have opened the show. But you have Kane and Cena brawling outside the ambulance with Eve being in it. Kane drives off, and Eve jumps out into the arms of superhero John Cena. And then, for Zack Ryder's Valentine, the woman who he was just about to possess his love to kisses John Cena in front of Zack Ryder. And it's at this point, you know that WWE hire about 20 Hollywood script writers to write these scripts. Just one thing that comes to my mind as soon as I saw this segment. Ryder heel turn for the win?
I'm going to probably see it. The way I see this now is that you had a perfect thing going. You had Kane doing exactly what he said at the beginning, which was putting someone into an ambulance. Him taking up Cena, he could have drove Eve up and finished that whole segment off, as well as attacking Cena, which will give him some hype. But the fact they had him, Eve jump out, have this kissy thing. Yes, it's Valentine's Day hype, but I really did not like this. It really ruined it when she jumped out and they had a kiss, and the Ryder thing led to later in the night.
Like I said, Hollywood script writers, and it did lead to something which we didn't feel should have been the main event. So they might be doing a Ryder heel turn. Ryder's in the friend zone. I think we all know how he feels right now. So yes, Miz versus CM Punk. This should have been the main event. What is the main event is going to be the Raw Elimination Chamber match. Am I not correct?
It should be. Yes.
So why wasn't this the main event? Why was John Cena in the main event? Let's talk about this match. Only went 5 minutes. Miz didn't get an entrance. He didn't get any mic time. It just felt like a lot of hour 2 was really rushed, and Miz taps out after 5 minutes. This match should have gone on at least 10 minutes, in my opinion, and should really have been the main event.
Well, we've gone through the matches that we think shouldn't have happened, the segment that shouldn't have happened, stuff like that. With the match like this, with these 2 great wrestlers, yes, they've had this whole thing about Miz getting all this thing backstage.
And you could tell with the fact that they only gave him 5 minutes.
But looking past that, the match itself, it was a match that we wanted to see, because obviously they're 2 big wrestlers in this chamber, but the time length didn't really give any justice, and I blamed the rest of the show. But overall, I guess the right person won to make the champ look strong ready for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, Punk won. It just didn't get enough time. And this is a match I'd really like to see happen at a pay-per-view at some point. I felt Miz and Punk could have a very good feud, and now they just made Miz's job out and clean in 5 minutes. It's just like, well, what's the point of me even wanting to see this anymore? It got 5 minutes. It should have been the main event over what came next, in my opinion. I'm just going to put that out there, especially with the Elimination Chamber match, with the Royal Elimination Chamber match being the main event, and this having the WWE Champion in it. Should we go on to the next segment?
Yeah, because we see the ambulance backing up, and I thought, okay, now Kane's going to fix that boring, Eve jumping out the ambulance thing. We're going to have something to save it, and I thought, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, in the main event of the evening, which we just really don't know why this is the main event. It's John Cena, we know. He's the main event of WrestleMania, we know. But he's not the main event of the pay-per-view, and this is the go-home show. And the main event should usually be the main event of that pay-per-view. John Cena comes out for a promo. He gets the traditional boos. He's just kissed Eve, what you expect. It's all about the drama with the Hollywood scriptwriters. And talks about Kane's plan of turning the fans and friends against him. And he kind of teases that he can embrace the hate. But he's John Cena, and he's not going to embrace the hate because he's John Cena, and he's Super Cena!
Well, the thing I like about this is that this part of the show had the most crowd reaction that actually meant something, because they were saying all this different thing about Cena. And I was liking this. But the thing is, he mentions about Kane, which he needs to because he's got a big pay-per-view match. But the thing is, then he starts mentioning about The Rock. And we've had The Rock mentioned earlier, and I'm thinking, okay, yes, you hype up that match, but your Elimination Chamber match should come first before you start talking about WrestleMania. But
they're already hyping up Taker Triple H. What's the difference there?
Well, they've not got two feuds going at the same time. Triple H is going to face Taker, John Cena's facing Kane, and then Rock. So I think they should just concentrate on Kane. But the segment just gradually got a bit better for me.
The Ryder basically comes out in his wheelchair, comes to the ring very gingerly. He slaps Cena, then him and Cena have this very weird face-off where you've got these two faces. You've got an angry Ryder, a John Cena really trying to restrict himself from actually hitting Zack Ryder. And then Ryder leaves the ring, and then you have Kane talking on the Titantron about this Cena's definitely going to be embracing the hate, which he isn't. He's not going to embrace the hate, guys. We know he's not going to embrace the hate and turn heel. And then basically Kane throws Ryder off the ramp. And we have another injury angle. As if we didn't have enough injury angles. We have another injury angle, even though I thought it was a good segment to sort of end the show.
I was going to say this earlier in the show, but I'm going to save it now because it's the right point. I really thought Ryder should take a break early in the night. He shouldn't even make the appearance in the first place. The fact they're using Ryder to get at Cena is stupid. So I'm hoping this big injury here, as well as that chokeslam through the ramp we had a while back, didn't finish it. Hopefully this one finish it, and Ryder's can take a break now and just concentrate on Kane and Cena before Kane and Cena move on to something else afterwards.
Yeah, they've really screwed Ryder up in this whole thing, haven't they?
They have indeed. But again, hope this will be the end of it now and Ryder will go out and have a break.
Do you still think this should have been the main event based on what was done in it?
Again, like I said, they should have just finished it when they did the backstage segment and done something dramatic there instead of having this one at the end. And they should have just finished with the Miz and Punk match, which should have got more time without this segment.
I don't think this is a bad segment. I mean, the whole thing going down the ramp and Cena being contrived. It's a good segment to end the show. If it was the main event of Elimination Chamber, then I'll be saying yes, this is a good segment. But it's not, and it shouldn't be the main focus of the show. Even though we all know that WWE don't think Punk equals ratings, and they've got to have Cena there. It's just not a good way for me to end the show. Not the correct way to end the show, in my opinion.
No, I was looking at this, and the show had what we was needing, but then when it came to the end, you had to prioritise the Miz and Punk, or Cena and Kane, which is the most important going up to the Elimination Chamber, and I think they've done it wrong here. Yeah,
I mean, I can understand why WWE do it. I mean, Cena is more of a draw in terms of ratings, but again, the main event of your pay-per-view should really be the last segment, but that's just really our thoughts on that. We only have 4 matches for Elimination Chamber. It's a shame for me because it looks like we're just going to get more filler in this pay-per-view, similar to Royal Rumble. It's disappointing that we're only getting 4 matches for this pay-per-view.
Again, I think the WWE are using it just as a stepping stone to get their matches and champs out the way ready for WrestleMania. So I guess they're not really putting too much effort into making this a big pay-per-view.
It's a good job it's free for us. I wouldn't really want to pay for this.
No.
4 matches. I mean, come on, WWE. 4. You blame Miz for the Survivor Series buy rate, but what you don't realise, you gave us 6 matches at a pay-per-view. What do you expect? We're getting 4 matches here. Is that really all you're going to give us? We may get some on SmackDown, but I doubt it. Since when does SmackDown ever make matches? Teddy Long only makes tag matches, player.
Very true, and I just can't see what they're going to do. There'll be some bitter matches, I'm sure. They always throw in some matches.
Brodus Clay!
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens at pay-per-view.
Sheamus! Two people there, two candidates. Your overall thoughts on this show, then?
Okay, I'm going to say that it did good, giving us matches that were Elimination Chamber related. Every segment, apart from, again, the SmackDown could have been lead for another show and just concentrated on Raw tonight. But overall, it was a good Raw for what we're given, but not the best feeling at the end.
We had two very lengthy promo segments, which were very good, but went on a little bit too long. It really took away from two of the matches that we had, which kind of disappointed me a little bit, as it kind of affected, in my opinion, the hype to the pay-per-view slightly. The first hour, in my opinion, was pretty good. I did like the first hour, and then after the HBK Triple H thing, everything just seemed rushed, apart from the Cena segment, and that kind of affects the way I view the show. So, good first hour, rushed second hour with a non-rushed main event, which shouldn't have been the main event, in my opinion. Like you said, the SmackDown thing should have just been saved for SmackDown, and you could have had more room for those two matches there, which didn't get enough time. So for me, this was a decent go-home show and a decent Raw. The second hour just shouldn't have been as rushed, and they really should have timed it a little bit better. So I'll give this Raw, I'll give it its dues. It was a decent Raw. I'll give it a B-.
Well, because of, obviously, it gave us Mania hype as well, which, again, I'm glad we're getting, but obviously Chambers coming first. Good, two big promos and that, so I'm going to give it a C+, B-, because I felt that it was a good Raw, but it didn't feel as good as it could have been.
Yeah, it's just a shame you don't want to see one of those matches, Triple H and Taker 3. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on this edition of Raw. Sorry this has been a long review, but we had a lot to say about this going show, so make sure you put your thoughts down in that comment section below. Of course, I've been Mr. Parkin, but the guy who's going to be doing your outro, and this is the proper... We schedule our main events very well here at the British Fist. This is NJ about to give you an outro to this video.
What's up? Now, people, all I can say is thank you for tuning to another review from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Please leave your thoughts on this Raw, because it's had its good points, but yet it's had its bad points that we pointed out. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And until next time, people, goodbye.